Neon Heights. Here's what I believe is the Mario Party version of New York City. You know, since it's on a skyscraper and whatnot. On this board, there are 3 treasure chests placed at random, and in order to see what's inside of them, you have to pay up 10 coins for each chest. One chest has a bomb that sends you back to the start, one has coins, and the other has a star. Every time you find the chest that has the star, the treasure chest will change locations, which shouldn't be that big of a deal since the star is what you're trying to go after in the first place. There's also a movie set, a rocket ship that could give you a free star if you're able to reach the top, a matching game in the center, UFOs that can scatter the treasure chest to a different location, and a baseball diamond. Now's not the best time for that! Anyway, even though I like the skyscraper landmark and the awesome events on this board, this is home to quite possibly the cruelest Bowser time events in the entire game. Bowser can steal coins from every single player and then put them in another treasure chest for the players to find, which absolutely sucks because if you're unfortunate enough to buy a star, then the treasure chest that contains all those coins will then go away with the next set of treasure chests. Not only that, but he'll steal a star from the player that's in first place and then put it in another treasure chest for the players to find. Or if that's not enough douchebaggery for you, he will even place a dark star in one of the chests and take away a star from whoever is unfortunate enough to accidentally get the chest that has the dark star. Yeah, did I mention that I absolutely despise Bowser just as much as I hate that celestial dragon asshat from One Piece? Just screw you and your whole entire family, Bowser. That only applies to Mario Party though. Let's look at an island that actually looks more peaceful than Waluigi's Island. Here we have Yoshi's Tropical Island. Okay, forget what I said about Goomba's Booty Boardwalk. This is a beach environment that I would gladly relax on. And before you ask, no, I did not put this board on here just because it's Yoshi's board. Okay, that's part of the contribution. But I believe I like this board because there's fruit placed everywhere on this island. It looks really tasty that I could just sink my teeth into the fruit as I speak. If some of it wasn't covered in sand, that is. The island has 2 separate sections, and each of them has 2 bridges that has thwomps blocking them. In order to pass by them, the players have to give up 1 coin at first, but the more times you pay the thwomps, the price gets higher and higher until it reaches 50. Throughout the entire board, one side will have Bowser and the other will have Toad. And obviously, you have to be sure that you stay the hell away from Bowser and try and get to the star space. However, in lies the happening spaces. If you land on any one of these throughout this entire board, Toad and Bowser will be forced to swap places with one another. So you can be right in the path of Deadly Hallows by landing on these happening spaces. Also, that party music. It is, how do you say, groovy! Sure, this might not be as eventful and as thrilling as the other boards in Mario Party 1, but I still get some enjoyment out of it. Also, Yoshi is the most adorable thing in the world. Oh, he's so cute! Chilly waters. I should go out on a limb and say that I actually like icy and wintry levels in video games. Not gameplay-wise because that gets me mad as hell, but visual-wise, they can look amazing. My reason being is because I lived in states that had incredibly freezing weather, and I would always hope that it snows every once in a while so that I could go out there and play in the freezing cold. So that partially contributes as to why I like wintry-looking levels in video games, and Chilly Waters is no exception. This board, if you couldn't tell already, is a winter-based board inhabited by penguins and snowmen. There is one particular snowman that will throw a humongous snowball on the board which can either go left or right. You have the option to either jump over the snowball or run away from it to advance further down the board. This quote-unquote obstacle can actually help you get to the star and or boo, since this board will force you to go to the very end of one of the sections of the board. This can happen if you meet the snowman up close and pay him 5 coins, or if you land on one of the happening spaces on the very top of the board. The last thing to bring up is that there's a 5-way intersection in the middle. If 2 players stop on anywhere, and I mean anywhere in the middle here, then the ice will begin to crack, causing the players to run! Run for your lives! To the southeast section, which is the only way of granting access to that area. Now I know this board doesn't have that many hazards compared to the other boards in Mario Party 3, but I personally like playing on this board because I just got more fun out of it. Nothing special, but it's still pretty cool. I made an awful pun. Any of you guys fans of musical instruments? Then you're gonna love Toadette's music room. In story mode, Toadette asks our little heroes to put a stop to Haribo from making a racket with her instruments. Something tells me Haribos have god-awful rhythm. Unlike the other boards in Mario Party DS, the star spaces are replaced with musical notes. The very first musical note will cost 5 coins at start, but afterwards the cost increases. The second one will cost 10, the third will cost 15, 20 for the fourth one, and the fifth and final note will cost 30. This cycle will repeat itself if you happen to purchase the 5th musical note. It's pretty awesome how they made even the star space on this board something music related. Every happening space is next to a musical instrument of some sort, and each of them has a different action involved. Landing on the happening spaces that are on the drums will call forth Hammer Bro and bang you to a random space. The ones on the piano will give you a chance to receive coins, the 2 horns will put you 1 space away from the music note, the violin will bring a random player for some friendly company, and the metronomes will change the music note space. Since I'm a huge sucker for music in general, and I even play a musical instrument, there was no way I could not put this board on this list somewhere. And as you can figure out, it didn't disappoint, and was quite the creative board out of all the other boards in the DS version of Mario Party. However, if anyone dares to make a musical out of this, then I'll never forgive the jerks who decided to greenlight that for the rest of my life. Musicals are annoying enough as they already are, Hollywood. Don't ruin this board for me! Isn't sci-fi stuff just so damn awesome? Of course it is, it's sci-fi. That's what inspires a lot of interesting, futuristic techno mumbo jumbo. Maybe that's what inspired the Future Dream board. So yeah, if you're a huge sci-fi lover like me, then you're definitely going to enjoy Future Dream. Apparently from what I've researched, this board resembles that of a low-budget television show. And when you think about it, that makes sense. The board in itself is an outer space station. There's teleportation devices that take you to separate sections of the board. The sections themselves have something different in common and have different functions. There's 3 separate spaceships that you're forced to get on when landing on the happening spaces next to them, a coin collecting game that involves a spaceship, a slot machine robot where you can win capsules, and 2 separate taxi ships that take you to this separate section of the board, for the cost of 10 coins. You also have these floating platforms as a shortcut transportation, which will be necessary to use if you want to advance further to get a star. Doesn't sound like much, but it's still pretty cool either way you look at it, especially if you love sci-fi. Besides, that's the future! And to think this isn't even my favorite board that takes place in space of all places. Speaking of which... the next entry was obvious, wasn't it? How predictable I am. But yeah, Spaceland. For this board, Mario and the gang dress up as astronauts and will attempt to take down Bowser in a contraption that almost looks like something that was created by Dr. Eggman. I know what you're probably thinking right now. Oh my god, that board looks so freaking awesome! And yes, I have to say, this board has possibly the best design that we've seen so far. Space Patrol's always looked pretty cool and clever in other forms of media, and this is no exception. The happening spaces on this board will send out Thwomp or Womp to chase after you, and you'll be forced to go to the other side of the board. There's a Sniffet police station around the ends of the board. If you pass by this, it'll give you the option to send out Sniffet. Why is he involved in this to begin with? Simple. If anyone lands on the happening spaces and a Sniffet is on patrol, then you'll be forced to go back further down the board. Oh, and this applies to everyone who's in the path of Thwomp and Womp, not just the player who landed on the happening spaces. But what you really need to pay attention to is this timer in the center of the board. The timer on this thing will start at 5, and every time someone passes by, the timer will decrease by 1. And once the counter hits 0 and anyone is in the path of this Bowser face junction at the corner of the board, Bowser will activate the machine and then... I'm a firing my laser! And the players in the path of this laser will then lose all of their coins in the process. The item minigame here is called Hammer Slammer. Just think about those carnival machines that test your arm strength. The dual minigame is called Time Bomb, where the 2 players have to press a switch at a certain time in order to win. Again, like the Western Land item and dual minigames, they're nothing that special, but they're still pretty fun. This is a really amazing space-themed area. It really is. I can't say that much else. It's a space board, that's all you need to know. Space! Frickin' space! Space! Looking for a place to stay at? Want to invest your money in hotels? Want to explore the town? Then Koopas Tycoon Pal is what you're looking for. It's pretty similar to how Mario Party 7's board Windmillville works. There are no star spaces around. The star space is actually a building, and in this case, that of a hotel. The goal is to see who can invest more coins into these hotels, because the owner of the hotel will depend on how much money the player will invest in these hotels. At first, it isn't much of a hassle, but it gets pretty intense later down the line. However, unlike Windmillville, these hotels will upgrade depending on how much coins you give up. If you're able to toss in 20 coins, the hotel will upgrade to a 2-star hotel. And if you give up a big daddy amount of 50 coins, it will become a 3-star hotel, which is the highest star count that anyone can reach. This might be the perfect time to mention the lucky space. You see, in most of the boards here on Mario Party 8, landing on the lucky space will give you a free star, no struggle whatsoever. But on here, the lucky space will send you off to another hotel that you can only grant access to on the lucky space. And this works like the rest of the hotels on this board. So you can actually swipe away the free 3-star hotel location investment away from the player who already worked hard enough to land on the lucky space to invest money in it to begin with. Not so lucky now, isn't it? The happening spaces will be able to give you a free joyride to a random hotel that's only one space away, so you can get the chance to invest some coins in it. Even Bandit, who also got involved in Windmillville, will steal coins from a random hotel and give them to whoever landed on the right happening spaces. We also have this crane next to a construction site that will rain 10 or 20 coins on you. Where do the coins come from anyway? I have no damn idea, but again, it's Mario logic. Donkey Kong and Bowser will even get their wallets ready for these hotels, because Donkey Kong will invest coins at a random hotel in your name, and Bowser, being the unbearable dick face that he is, will steal some coins. Again, did I mention that I absolutely hate Bowser in Mario Party? So what are you waiting for? Come on down to Koopas Tycoon Town, the only place where you can give up your money in hotels and actually get something out of it. If I haven't stated this before, then this might be the best time to say that I really hate the horror genre. And I'm not just talking about in video games, I mean like in general, I don't like horror. I don't like being scared, I never found being scared entertaining, and aside from a few exceptions, I never sat through anything horror related. And I know you're thinking, oh Hedgehog Ninja, you're such a wuss, you can't sit through anything scary. Well, you might not have noticed, but I'm not the manliest guy around. Besides, I just can't find anything redeemable or fun about anything that has to do with horror. So now you might be asking, what the fuck does this horror stuff have to do with Mario Party? Well, because Boo's Haunted Bash looks like it's from something that's horror related. Partly due to the fact that this board is hosted by Boo, an undead character of all things. You'll notice right away that this board is indeed haunted beyond belief. I mean, they stated it in the freaking title of the board. Even Boo himself said that he created this board for the purpose of scaring the living daylights out of people and wanted them to be scared as much as possible. There are many other Boos among this board, and I'm talking a lot of Boos. The one you have to pay attention to the most is the one in the very center. This red Boo will disappear and then reappear every time someone passes by him. This is important to know because there are these bridges with more red Boos who are carrying candles with them next to the bridges. If the red Boo in the center disappears, then the bridges will also disappear. And it doesn't take a genius to know what happens when he reappears. At the top left corner of the board, there are 4 coffins lying around. You'll only be able to check this out when the big red Boo in the center disappears. Because once that's all said and done, another Boo appears and takes you on a ride on the mystery train. Or a ride on coffins to be more exact. You are forced to take this ride and keep on moving until you reach one of the corners of the board. You're allowed to choose which direction you want to go to though, so don't worry about that. If anyone is in the path of this mystery train, they're forced to take the ride as well. So you'll be expecting a lot of troll moments right here. The big wow factor here is that there are only 2 happening spaces on this entire board. Let me repeat that. There are only 2 happening spaces on this entire board. They're next to this portrait of Big Boo right here. If you're lucky enough to hit these happening spaces 3 times, Big Boo himself will come out and give you a chance to really screw up the other players big time. He works the exact same way as Big Boo from Mario Party 2, meaning he can steal coins from all the other players for the price of 15 coins, or steal stars from all the other players for a whopping total of 150 coins. Yeah, good luck trying to accomplish that goal. For the item minigame, 3 items get shuffled inside this trumpet, and you pick 1 button and that's the item you get. The coin minigame involves this piano, and whatever button appears on the key, that's what you gotta press in order to get some coins. The more you do this successfully, the more coins you'll get. One last thing I should mention is that this board has a lot of musical instruments around here. Not just in the coin and item minigames, but around the board as well. If you look very closely, you'll see plenty of transparent musical instruments that would even make the board Toadette's music room jealous. Who knew? Boo has a thing for musical instruments. I never would have guessed that. The last place you want to be in is anywhere that has lava, and this is proven in Mario Party 9's Magma Mine. Taking place inside the mines, the players will try to venture their way out of a certain death certificate in a minecart. They'll have to travel up in order to get out of there. Everything seems fine when you first start out. You got a nice, smooth, flowing pace going here, and you just need to reach the very end in a calm manner. But once you beat your first boss battle, the difficulty will be kicked up a notch. The lava will then begin to rise inches away from you. And now it's not just about seeing who could collect the most mini stars, it's about getting the hell out of there so you don't touch the hot boiling lava.
Hot boiling lava, but don't let that cool you off.
The lava will rise 2 spaces every time someone finishes their turn. However, there's one space you must avoid in order to avoid the grasp of death. You see these red spaces with the addition sign along with a number on them? These are magma spaces. These are only relevant for this board and this board only. If you're the ever so lucky person that happens to land on any of these, the magma will rise up to whatever number the magma space contains. So much like the Bowser space, you do not want to land on that thing, unless you want to get burned and have your mini stars taken away from you. For the captain event, the players will leave the main vehicle and go in separate minecarts. You're on the path in front of some mini stars. And a dead end. You all roll a separate dice block and go however many spaces it has, obviously, and hope to get some mini stars. The captain will decide whether he or she wants to continue to try and get some more mini stars or just quit while they're ahead. If anyone happens to roll off the edge of the cliff, the event will then come to an end, and you won't get any mini stars, so you better just hope that the captain won't be a jerk to you. Magma Mine, a lava-infested minecart danger trip. Hey, while we're down here, mind if we fire up some hot dogs in this fiery location? Am I right? Oh, I'm ashamed of myself. Clockwork Castle.
Perfection has no age.
No, I said Clockwork Castle. There you go. This is a castle that takes place in the sky, and during the daytime, everyone will travel to the left. You'll notice the classic warp pipes and the different colors they have. There are corresponding pipes on each end of the board. Whatever the color of the pipe is, that's where you're going to end up at. Except the gray pipe with the X on it that won't allow you to grant access to. This will change, however, when you land on the happening spaces near the pipes. The color of the pipes will change whenever you land on these, mixing things up a bit to where you might end up at. You can also fish for orbs in the sky. Okay. Another happening space will call out a UFO that will send you back to the start, and the one on top of the castle will possibly change the current time of day. Although, it is an even 50-50 chance for that to happen. The hosts, Brighthot and Twyla, have their own homes on this board. The blue one is Twyla's and the orange one is Brighthot's, respectively. The events from the happening spaces from these homes will only occur if you land on them during the respective time of day. Or in other words, landing on the happening space on the blue house during the night, and landing on the happening space on the orange house during the day. Anyway, they will present you 2 treasure chests. One has a star, and one has coins. Enough said. It's a win-win situation either way. But the highlight of this board is the star space and what it can do on this board. What's so special about the star space on this board, you might ask? That's because the star space is in the hands of none other than Donkey Kong and Bowser. In Mario Party 6, the DK and Bowser spaces are both one space. It just changes during the type of day. It'll be a Donkey Kong space during the day and a Bowser space during the night. That in turn applies to this board. So during the daytime, Donkey Kong will appear on the board and it's your job to reach him so that you can get a star in return. But what's clever here is that Donkey Kong will roll a dice block on his own, just like the other players. So in other words, the star space changes every turn. During the night is where you're going to enter hell. Not only do the players go right instead of left, but the Master of Killjoy himself will show up on the board. And if he happens to reach you, he'll take away a star or coins if you don't have any. That's what's pretty impressive about this board, since you had to catch an ape in order to get a star during the day, but then you gotta run as far away as you can to escape Count Dicula over here. Bowser's the absolute worst when it comes to Mario Party.